your heart. I will try to fix you. Hello everyone, this is Doug. Yes, I have my sunglasses and my hat on. Part of why Michelle asked me, why do I wear my sunglasses all the time? Well, they're prescription glasses, but also it helps me because I never know where to look, and when I have my sunglasses on, my eyes don't go every which way. So anyway, today's topic was really good, something very near and dear to my heart, and basically it's along the lines of what is a skill? What is something that you tapped into or you use again and again in your life that's helped you, throughout your whole entire life? It's like a natural part of your spiritual DNA. It's like a part of you. And I'd like to start with really one of the things that really has always been a part of my aura, my energy, my spirit, is this idea of basically reinventing myself, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter where I find myself in, no matter what age I am, whatever. I've always been able to do that. Now I'm going to put my sunglasses back on here. I got Coldplay playing a so awesome song from Sao Paulo, where I spent 7 weeks, called Fix You. You can see it in the background here. In my home, not my truck. Anyway, what I've been able to do, and I do this very instinctively, and it's been a part of my being, is reinventing myself. So on this video, I want to try to give you, not only to talk about my own personal journey, but to share some things that I've learned along the way that perhaps you may agree with or may benefit you in your own personal journey. I have so many chapters I could talk to you about, but I'll start because I'm right here in my home, and where I've been the last about 10 years. So this has a direct connection with what I want to communicate to you right now and my story about reinventing myself. 11 years ago, I've told some of you that I hit rock bottom, and I ended up living, I wouldn't say living with my folks. I just went home to my folks' home in Big Bear, California for my 4 days off every month. Because they told me, why rent an apartment when you can just come and hang out at our place? And they had a beautiful custom home that they built themselves in Big Bear, California. So my dad, I might have to go in and turn down the music. My dad, one of the things he would do that was really, really cool, I'm going to turn this down or turn this off. Here we go. I can still remember this to this day, even though this is like 8 years ago. I didn't have a car, and without my parents' help, this would have never happened. But they lived about, at least an hour drive to the terminal where I was working out of. So my dad would let me drive his Dodge pickup truck down to the terminal where I was working out of after my 4 days of home time. And then he would drive the pickup back to Big Bear. And then I would go out for a month. And during that month's time, I was traveling about 20,000 miles a month. I did that for 3 solid years. And I eventually, gradually, I got a cell phone, eventually opened up a checking account, eventually started working myself out of that situation, and started reinventing myself. But I ended up at one point, because up to that point, I had supported myself. I'd always, even though it was rentals and renting studio apartments and moving around, I'd never bought a house before. I told them I just want to feel like I'm independent. I have my own home and or apartment, even though I'm only there 4 days out of the month. So here's what happened related to this house that I'm currently in right now. My parents saw this home on the internet while I was out on the road, and they saw it online, and they literally drove all the way out here to Arizona, which was about about 8-10 hour drive, and it was selling for only $48,000 cash. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a double car garage, halfway between Tucson and Phoenix. So, as an investment, they jumped on it. They wrote a check out for it and bought it. And then they called me and said, "You now have a home to live in of your own." And I can't even tell you how much that meant to me. Well, I found out later that ultimately what happened was they originally thought it would be a good investment to buy this home. And they were living up in Big Bear, which does get cold in the wintertime. So they thought, well, I'd been staying with them 4 days out of the month. Why don't they buy this house? It's a good investment. And during the winter months, they come to Arizona and, stay in this home. And then I would have this room that I'm in right now. It's a master bedroom with a bath. But what happened is, and this is part of what I want to talk to you about, everything kind of started evolving. They bought this house. They found another house that was way below market value, and it was a house about a mile from here, and it was for about $60,000 or so. And they bought that house for themselves. So this house that I'm in right now ended up being my home. But they said that I didn't have to pay a rent or pay mortgage. However, just like I had paid cash for it myself, I would have to pay for the taxes and insurance, the utilities, the sewer, the water, everything. So it gave me the experience of being a homeowner. And this is while I was driving a truck. And so they bought that home for themselves, and it just kept evolving. My dad's an artist. These aren't my paintings that you see everywhere. My dad started painting after he retired from the police department. And so they bought a third home that my dad used as his man cave and his art studio. So it went from me living with them in Big Bear, California, to having this home, to them having their own home, and then my dad having his own art studio, having 3 homes, plus the home in Big Bear. So things just kept evolving. Anyway, long story short, I lived here almost in essence of like being a homeowner, except my parents technically bought the home. I paid all the expenses, the taxes, the insurance, and everything. So it gave me that experience of actually having my own home. So I lived here probably, it would probably be 7 years. But my point with this, I felt like I kind of reinvented myself, but it wasn't really all on my own. It was with the help of my parents. But there was like a karmic thing. And my parents, I think they realized that they were willing to give a hand out, give a hand up and not a hand out, because they could see how hard I was working. So that's how I ended up in this home. Well, what ended up happening in the theme of reinventing myself and kind of going with the flow, after I started going to Japan, I told my parents, I love the house, I love the fact you were so generous, but I'm starting to fall in love with Japan. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to want to keep the house. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know, what we should do from this point forward. So here's what happened. While I was in Japan, my mom proposed that why don't we sell your dad's art cave or man cave or art studio. And what we can do is this home that you're seeing now, we can turn that into Dad's art studio and give him a place to paint and hang the paintings and everything. In exchange, you won't have to pay any of the bills. You can still come here in your home time, but you don't have to pay any of the bills, and that's going to help you to where you have less expenses so that you can, if you choose to, continue to go to Japan. So it evolved to where I had a home with no overhead that I could come to, 3 or 4 days out of the month. That's what I'm doing right now. And my dad has a studio where he can paint out of, and they sold his art studio at a profit. Ultimately, what ended up happening, they sold their home they were in for a profit, and now they're living across the street now. So the point with this whole story is I've been able to reinvent myself, but I've had help along the way. And it came also with a lot of hard work, faith, and perseverance, and just putting my head down and just taking responsibility for the situation I was in, and now it's evolved where it is today. So I just wanted to be authentic and honest when I say this is my home. I didn't buy this home. It's not technically my home, but it has been my home for about 10 years. Plus, in addition to that, I still get to see a lot of my folks. My dad comes and paints here about 3 or 4 hours out of the day. So, and I wouldn't be able to share all of this with you when I'm on the road, especially on location like now. So, my message to you is some of the things I have within my consciousness, my being, my heart, is the strength and the perseverance to reinvent myself, to not be afraid to, accept some help along the way, and to be humble enough to realize that I didn't do all of this. And perhaps there's a greater power, whether you call it God or the universe or whatever, or my parents' love for me and willingness to help me, because I was working very, very hard, and I'm still working very hard. I've been driving a truck now 11 years. And I just got home, and I can't tell you, it's kind of funny. I'll wrap this up and say, when I'm in my truck and I'm out in the road, I don't miss my home. But when I come home and I'm able to do my laundry and take a shower and listen to some music and hang out and have a 3 or 4 days of just hanging out, and my parents' home is right across the street, and I can go say hello to them and hang out with them, I really appreciate it. So that's my little video. There's so much more I could tell you about, some of the things I bring to the table, especially with my work, as far as being someone that Night Transportation can count on, and my trip planning and my skills and all the things I've developed in my professional life. But I just wanted to share a little bit about kind of my own personal journey and what's led me to today. And I hope that's of value to you. I'll talk to you all soon. For the next 3 days, I'm going to be able to make some videos right here at home. Take care. Have a wonderful day.